gentlemen, to an all-new reaction and review. Tonight, guys, I'm taking a look at a movie from 2010. That movie is Phase 7. Now, normally, guys, I can give you a lot of info about these movies, but frankly, with this one, the only thing I can tell you is that it's a movie from Argentina. That's all I have to work with. I have no idea what genre this thing is supposed to fall under. I have no earthly clue at all. In fact, I was curious, and a second ago I did a Google search on Phase 7 genre, and according to Google, and I still have the page up, Phase 7 is a fantasy, crime fiction, comedy, science fiction thriller. Plus it has world, cinema listed because it's from Argentina. Again, fantasy, crime fiction, comedy, science fiction, thriller. That really nails it down in no way at all. I have no clue, guys, what the hell I am getting into. And frankly, I don't even know if this thing is going to be any, good. The only way I am going to find out what the hell this thing even is if I shut up and I push play, and I'm going to do that right now. So, without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out Phase 7. Guys, I was genuinely hoping for this movie to be, interesting or kind of clever, sort of funny, but so far we really haven't gotten that. I'm genuinely hoping for this movie to get better, but right now, guys, we are off to a very slow, incredibly dull start. So, guys, closest thing we have to a likable character in this film so far is an absolutely deranged conspiracy nut. However, that isn't really saying much in terms of being a likable character, because he's also one of the only characters who has any level of depth. So, I'm kind of hoping for this movie to get better, but at this point I'm beginning to have my doubts, guys. Wow, that actually was an awesome fucking kill. And also, it's the first time this movie's given me anything that was even halfway close to interesting. So, hey, at least it's a step in the right fucking direction, guys. Guys, I would probably love this movie more if even a single one of these jokes worked. This movie's clearly trying for, humor, but none of these jokes work. None of them are funny, and really, guys, it's just kind of making a slightly shitty movie a little bit worse. Guys, I would really love to tell you that this movie is getting better, but it's not. The only thing that I have going for me right now is that the damn thing is almost fucking done. This thing, guys, has been just a torturous bore, and every second that we get closer to the ending is 1 second closer to happiness. Well, guys, that was Phase 7. Let's shut that off. Wow. Alright, for those of you who have stuck with me for this long in the video, you may happen to remember at the very start I listed off all the genres that this thing falls under according to a Google search for Phase 7 genre. And out of these 6, I actually still have the list up here, out of these 6, the only one that it really falls under, I guess, would be thriller? Kind of? I mean, okay, yes, it was trying for, comedy, and this super fucking virus could technically fall under sci-fi or fantasy, even though it's kind of sort of, even though a killer super virus is kind of sort of within the realm of reason, so it doesn't really belong in either, category, it ultimately leaves us with thriller and nothing else. It really doesn't fit into any other one. I'm actually going to disqualify world cinema, because it technically was that from the get-go, simply because it was from Argentina. So when it comes to the 5 actual genres, it really only falls under thriller. Now, why don't we talk about the movie itself? Let's talk about the writing. The writing here is incredibly weak. Now, mind you guys, there have been a lot of movies and a lot of television miniseries having to do with killer viruses, and either trying to treat them or trying to quarantine them or trying to live with them. And a lot of those have done it vastly better. In fact, the back of the DVD actually lists one of those films, and that is a film called Wreck. And I would even go as far as to also recommend, and I never thought I would recommend a motherfucking remake, but I'm going to, because Wreck had a remake which was called Quarantine, and Quarantine was actually kind of watchable. So if you guys want something with a virus and with people being quarantined and having to deal with it, go watch either fucking one of those. And if you want a better film about a virus in general, and if you have 6 hours to kill, you can watch the television miniseries of Stephen King's The Stand, if you can find a copy of it. There, guys, there's so many other better films involving viruses, but then again, that honestly is me just going on now about just the general premise. So, writing-wise, we have a story about a virus, and they kind of sort of keep it a little bit cryptic as to exactly what this virus causes outside of the very first symptoms, which are dizziness, cough, and fever. And also nausea is also one of the other early symptoms. But they don't tell you what the fuck else it does. It basically is just dizziness, nausea, cough, and fever, and then you die. There's no other symptoms given. We never see. Oh wait, and apparently, if one of the other and if one of the victims we see is to go by, apparently one of the final things which happens, which normally happens with a high fever anyway, is essentially dementia. So we have that, but really, though, they are really cryptic about the virus, because the virus is not the primary focus. The focus is the people who live in this small, well, it's not exactly a small apartment building, it's just kind of new and there's not many people in it. But anyway, it's just basically following the people who are in this building, trying to deal with being fucking quarantined, and just how they begin to not fucking, trust each other and turn on each other and kill each other. And all of that sounds as if it would have been a fantastic film, and it probably would have been if we would have had characters who were in any way likable, if there was any kind of depth on any of these characters. I do not even remember the names of our main characters, and I just stopped watching the fucking movie. There's nobody here with any kind of personality, outside of one guy who is essentially a poor man's version of Dale fucking Gribble, and that's not really a good thing. Otherwise, guys, our characters are flat and lifeless, and I couldn't bring myself to care about a single one of them, because the film did not make any effort to make us care about anything going on here. Because you know what, guys? You honestly can take 5 fucking families and you can totally just, quarantine them in a building, but that is not going to make me care about the 5 families inside of that building, because you haven't gone to any effort to give me a reason to care. And that's a big problem with this film, is that our characters are lifeless and shallow, and the story itself, even though it has a very, very promising premise, is just kind of left to fucking rot as the characters stand around and do nothing for 90 minutes. Now, the humor, because this thing was trying to be a comedy. It was totally attempting to be a comedy. The humor here fails at every possible turn. Every single joke, guys, is just crap from top to bottom. I could not find a single joke in this film which would even get me to smile. There was nothing here, guys. And mind you, the back of this thing, not only does it fucking mention, Wreck, which is a vastly better film about a fucking, quarantine, but it also mentions Shaun of the Dead, because it claims that Shaun of the Dead meets fucking Wreck, and that is a slap in the face to both films. And to compare something this criminally unfunny to something such as Shaun of the Dead should border on sacrilege. But yet, That is what we were saddled with here, and it's really fucking sad. There is no humor, there is almost no tension. It's just people doing stuff for 90 minutes. And that sounds really vague, but guys, the movie didn't really make any effort to do anything. Okay, you would really think that this sort of a plot you would have more to work with, and you by all rights would. But these writers just were lazy as fuck and didn't give us anything, guys. This movie was a dull, tedious bore just solely on writing. The acting here, though, shockingly, guys, the acting was fairly fucking decent. You know, the acting here wasn't, you know, great, but it also could have been vastly worse. And considering the lifeless, soulless script that these people were handed, I am stunned that they fucking turned in anything even halfway good. So yeah, guys, the acting here is stellar when fucking compared to the god-awful script. Special effects. There really are not a lot of special effects in this film. The best one, though, has to be when one of the characters gets the top of his head shot fucking clean off. It looks really good. It's also probably the one brief moment in the film when you're actually going to be interested, because it actually kind of shows that there may actually be a little bit of life in this worthless husk of a film. Unfortunately, guys, that is literally like a 5-second scene. 5 seconds in a movie that runs an hour and 37 minutes, okay? That is not good. However, though, guys, special effects here beyond that are also fairly decent. So we honestly don't have, like, bad, you know, special effects. Once more, guys, it all just sort of boils down to writing. And I also can say the same thing about camera work and lighting and sound mix. Everything else here is done very well. And, also in terms of camera work and video editing and everything else, there is something that I do have to mention. This movie features apparently a VHS tape, which is supposed to be telling us how essentially the world is going to be taken over by a fucking multinational new world order. And they actually went out of their way to actually edit this video and make it look like a worn out, cheap, shitty VHS tape in terms of picture quality. And that is awesome. Well, correction, it is either that or else the thing actually was a cheap fucking shitty, you know, VHS, and they just sort of wanted to shoehorn it into the film. By the way, and also that friggin' videotape is the only reason why this thing is called Phase 7, because that was the name of the videotape. Because that apparently is the name of the plan of this multinational New World Order. That basically is the multinational New World Order's name for their plan to take over, you know, the world through some various oddball means or some such shit. Again, again, guys, things are kept really cryptic because the people who wrote this don't know how to fucking write. Ultimately, guys, there's no way in hell I can fucking recommend this thing. Phase 7 is a dull, boring, tedious waste of an hour and 37 minutes. And I could have spent that hour and 37 minutes doing almost anything else. I could have watched almost any other movie. I sat through this thing hoping and praying beyond all hope that this movie would get better, and it didn't. It never got better, and it never fucking improved. Except for that one brief 5 fucking seconds of massive gore. And frankly, guys, even that feels completely wasted when the rest of your film is this shallow, this lifeless, and this absolutely shitty. And if you find a copy of this fucking movie anywhere, please, for the love of God, do not bother watching it. You guys could do so much better with an hour and 37 minutes. In fact, let me think here. I actually, right now, I'm just looking at my Blu-ray collection, just trying to find anything which would be... Ricky O, you guys could spend an hour and 37 minutes, roughly, watching fucking, like, let's see, Ricky O, or Wizards, or almost any of the Star Trek movies. Almost anything, guys, could be watched and would be better than this. This thing is boring, it's lifeless, and I frankly hated the fuck out of it. Now, Phase 7 here came off of the Amazon wish list. The person who sent it in is hold on. Yeah, it's Robert. Sorry, I kind of sort of blanked, and luckily I do have the name written down. Robert, who has sent in a ton of movies. And Robert, dude, I thank you for that. And as always, Robert has asked that I not fucking give out his YouTube channel, and that is totally fine. I am going to respect that. And once more, Robert, thanks, man, because I was really curious about this movie. I honestly had no idea what fucking, what genre it was when I first put it on the wish list, because I was getting various things from various sources. And I was at least hoping for it to be good, and it sadly wasn't even that. However, I would not have known that if you had not have sent it in, and Robert, you are awesome. Thanks, man. Now, you know what, guys? Earlier I mentioned fucking, Ricky-O or Star Trek. I'm going to go find something off. I'm going to go find something out of my Blu-ray collection to watch. Jonah Hex. What the fuck? I haven't fucking watched Jonah Hex in quite a while. I'm going to go watch that in order to wash the taste of this god-awful thing from my fucking mouth. So guys, with that we come to the close of another reaction and review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.